Coming to you from Crunchyroll HQ, this is the Gachiakuta After Show, where each week we are talking out the trash and breaking down the latest from the anime series, sharing our favorite moments, and so much more. I could not think of anything funny, but I am your host, Nick Friedman.
Nick thinks he's funny. It's your boy, LeAlec Murray. You're funny sometimes. I'm sorry. You're funny.
And I almost said the three of us. It's just Lee and I today, but we're going to enter the abyss together. We have arrived at the next chapter of the series, and, you know, this is another chapter in Zanka's story. So, you know, we learned quite a lot here, but you want to just jump into it, Lee? You want to just get into it? I feel like the last episode left on a cliffhanger, so we got to get into it.
Yeah, it did.
All right, well, let's jump into it. Let's get into the recap of episode 17.
You know, I kind of like how this episode started. And I mean, even though it was kind of confusing at first, and you kind of realize that like they were kind of doing a weird time skippy thing, because when we left off, Zanka had been, you know, poisoned. He was knocked out. We didn't know if he had made it or not. But when we opened this episode, he's actually still in the midst of fighting. So and that also kind of gives us our flashback moment where we start to find out more about Zanka and more of his family, and him being a Hell Guard, which is basically like an elite army that guards the ground. And
well, he's not actually part of the Hell Guard yet, right? He's in the training academy to become part of the Hell Guard.
Right.
So yeah, so he's training to be a Hell Guard. He's in what looks like this academy, which again, I just continue to be surprised at how much there is to this world that, you know, previously we thought was just full of garbage, especially from episode 1. And so to see kind of the layers that we have here. And so the Hell Guard is this entirely new layer that we learn about in this episode. Zanka is training to be part of this army. And he's kind of like, he's the head of the class at this point, right? He's considered a natural talent in his ability, but that changes.
Yeah, and it changes quite a bit because there's a new trainee that comes to, you know, start doing the Hell Guard training. And even though Zanka is the best of his class because, you know, he's considered a natural talent, there's a new trainee that shows up, and Zanka starts seeing himself as kind of like a mediocre talent. Like, he doesn't really see himself as, you know, this natural born like special talent, because he's kind of being outdone in every aspect of, you know, what's happening in the training and the classes. And, you know, you really start seeing his motivations being laid out on why this is so important to him.
Yeah, this is his spurring action. He fully crashes out because of this and pushes himself.
1000%.
He tries to push himself, and he ends up playing mind games with himself, and we get to this point where they have a weapon selection ceremony, effectively, where each of the trainees get to decide what their signature weapons are going to be. And, you know, we're going to talk about this a little bit more later, but spoiler, this is how Zanka gets his lovely assist staff, and it's not always
totally
the
by
perfect
accident.
Weapon. Yeah, he basically gaslights himself into choosing what is effectively a random stick that they told him actually wasn't supposed to be here, because he thought it was some sort of long game play to show how capable he was to the new recruit, and they end up picking a sword, right? So, you know.
Right. So and we continue the story with, you know, Zanka kind of meeting up with these strangers who turn out to be Engine and Rio, which is one of my favorite parts.
He doesn't know that at this point,
he doesn't know
he's
it.
Just like,
we know it, but he doesn't know.
He's fully crashed out, suffering ego death at the bottom of an empty well. And
yes, he's literally ego death at the bottom of an empty well. It's so weird.
And Engine gives him the Nick Fury, like, I'm building a team, you should be a part of it, kind of.
I'm building the Avengers. Which was kind of a great moment, because he's so down on himself, and Engine is basically like, you know, picking him up, and he's, you know, basically like, yeah, are you a natural talent? But how important is that? Like,
yeah, who cares? Just vibe.
Yeah. Can you be more than your natural talent, right? And, you know, Zanka really kind of like, that really spurs him to action. And you see his motivations change, because it went from him saying, I have to be able to be the best in class so I can sit in this gold chair and I can, you know, join the Hell Guard and make my family proud. And then he flips immediately to, I still have this stick. I'm gonna make this the best stick ever.
Yep.
I'm doing it for me now.
Yeah. And I can play a part, and like playing a part is just as important as like playing the part.
Right.
So from this scene, we are sort of snapped back to reality. Zanka is in sort of a hallucinogenic trip thanks to Jabber's neurotoxins that he put in him. And
there's a weird rap that happens.
There's a really great dancing scene of Jabber just kind of like doing some fancy footwork behind Zanka while he's basically catatonic. Then he kind of wants to like, Jabber's like totally off the wall in this scene. He's like laying on the ground being like, oh my gosh, Zanka, like you're having such a good time doing this. Cause Zanka's like going kind of nuts and like laughing. And then Jabber starts laughing with him. And anyway, this all leads to a point where we end the episode where Jabber's like, all right, party's over. Time to feed you to the trash beast. And what do you know it? Another cliffhanger.
Which, theory time, right? When he says we're going to feed you to the trash beast. And then the scene where we have like this weird, like red, like pink cocoon and the hands with the weapons. Like there's something else to this. There's something else like that Zodal isn't really like telling everyone.
Yep.
Or that we've really seen. But I think the trash beast may actually be more intelligent than we think. And I think there's something else behind this. Like this is.
I do too.
This is getting very like the ancient elder dragon, evil, et cetera, et cetera. This is, I don't know how, I don't think I'm explaining that well, but.
Before we get too deep into it, let's head over into the dumpster dive. Because I think there's an interesting conversation we need to have, which is, y'all, the debate between natural talent and mediocrity, right? Mm-hmm. That this battle that Zanka is dealing with of like, he believes he is this skilled warrior, effectively. He is sort of unseated by this person who appears to be very naturally gifted at what they're doing, or really that they come out of nowhere. He doesn't know anything about this person other than that
and
they look
really
extremely cool. They look extremely cool and are extremely influential, and they keep kicking his ass. That is what Zanka knows about this person at this point. And so it got me thinking, like, the larger concepts of, do you need natural talent to be good at something, or is practice just as important?
Practice? We talk about practice? Not a game. I'm sorry. You know what? This is, I'll use two examples really quick, right? Like, when I started, wrestling when I was in high school, some moons ago. Many cycles ago. I just wasn't naturally gifted, as, being, a more mat-based or collegiate or, high school-based wrestler. And I really had to, because I had no prior knowledge, and I didn't really even play sports up until that point. So I had to, like, figure out how to, like, properly train my body and, like, what to properly eat and, like, how to get the movements down and, like, that took a lot of hard work. Like, and, and I would be sparring with guys, like, we'd be in sparring circles, and there was a guy that I would spar with every day during practice at that point had been a career wrestler because he had been doing wrestling since he was like 5. And it was like, and he would put me on the mat every single time. But, even with that, I learned a lot about, just my style in general to where I could actually like apply it and go and actually like win some matches when we did tournaments, even though I wasn't like, exactly like in the A or B string of the team, right? Like if I was an alternate, I could actually go and actually like, put forth an effort because, even though I wasn't naturally gifted, I was able to apply it, and even when I, was DJing like that, I was more naturally talented at. But I think this is where you have the conversation of talent also meeting practice, because even though I was very good at it, I had to figure out that like, oh, I also have to practice this, because if I don't continue to stretch the skill or, make this skill my own, then the natural talent doesn't mean anything. Right.
Yeah, so. I think those are two really good examples. I mean, my stance on this is pretty much practice is always more important because you can always get better at something. You can always learn something.
Yeah. You can build the muscle. Right.
Yeah, natural talent is incredibly helpful.
Yes.
Especially, like a lot of people say that like becoming a musician, like being naturally predisposed to like being able to pick up on sound and melody and things like that can then make it easier for you to pick up something like an instrument, and then all you have to practice is the dexterity and the memorization and things like that. So, but I think what we're seeing here in Gachiakuta is kind of a condensed down version of this, which is you have someone who's sort of built this reputation for himself his entire life of like, I'm the best. I'm going to be the best. This is what's owed to me because of my ability. And when that is shaken, it creates this like schism in your brain of like, oh, am I not who I always was? It's like imposter syndrome, but actually like,
Yes.
because you realize that like you do have to continue to get better, and you have to continue to learn. And sometimes it's not always the right thing to be the best at something. And that I think is what we're learning, and the difference between the Zanka that we see in this flashback and where we see him now, which is, I mean, his weapon is literally the lovely assist staff. He knows that his role is support. He has a role to play as part of the cleaners. And I just think it's really wonderfully illustrated here in this episode. Whew. Good conversation.
That was a lot. We might have to circle back to that.
A deep and philosophical dumpster dive. We're going into the pit pole, guys. I'm legally required to tell you we are entering the pit pole.
It's in our contract that we have to say this.
Lee, tell me about yours first, because I know you kind of hinted at it earlier.
We talked about Engine a lot in the show, especially like when he first showed up and we first saw the special move and how he's kind of like, taking Rudo under his wing. But this episode shows that, Rudo isn't the only one he's done that for. Sure. Engine seems to be like you alluded to him being like the Nick Fury, but he kind of is just that, right? Like he sees the potential in people. He sees the immediate need for the cleaners as a team to be like bigger than the sum of its parts,
yes.
Which means it has to have more diverse people that are actually like that have certain skills.
There are no main characters. There are no golden chairs.
Right. So he's, he basically tells Zanka just that. He was like, why is it so important that you have to have the seat that doesn't do anything for you? And why is it so important that you have to be the most naturally talented out of everybody that's here? And you clearly see there's somebody better than you. That doesn't mean that you're wrong or that you can't do it. It just means that like your mentality has to shift. Are you a natural talent? Are you talented? Yes. But it also requires you to be something more.
Yep.
And, Zanka really took that to heart. And you saw it when he climbs out of the well. Like he's in there just in a pit of despair, literally.
Yeah, very solid metaphor there.
Yeah. And he, when he climbs out with such a ferocity. And up until that point, we had seen him losing to this new student and like biting himself and like injuring himself to where he bleeds because he can't deal with it, to a different kind of ferocity where he's like, I can really do this for myself now. And it feels totally different. And it really, really hit home for me. So that was like a really like great moment. What about you, sir?
It's so good. Yeah. So my scene, it ties really well into that one because it happens right before we get that scene, which is that the weapon choice scene. I found this to be really interesting. So when you watch it without the context of that conversation with Engine later on and Zanka sort of reframing his perspective, you kind of see him as just trying to play 4D chess against this new, this new student and basically thinking like, oh, I know they're going to pick this, so I better pick it first and show that I'm more capable with this, right? I'm going to go with the unconventional weapon here. And so there's a bit of hubris and, of course, self-gaslighting that pushes him to choose the stick.
Right.
Of course, we then learn that, hey, that was actually there accidentally. But I think from a narrative perspective, it doesn't feel accidental. And when you add in the sort of color context of where Zanka is now and everything he's learned from Engine and the cleaners and the transformation of the useless stick into the assist staff, it starts to feel more intentional. Like he almost saw himself as this thing that doesn't belong in this group of weapons, right? He went from being like, oh, I'm the pinnacle of what this academy aspires to realizing that like, oh, like you said, Lee, he has a bigger part to play and he has to redefine himself. And he may be seen as the useless stick or refer to himself as that, but really he is a part of a bigger whole. And yes, I am certain I'm assigning additional meaning, but I think that's what's so incredible about the way that this series illustrates these moments is you're able to interpret it. So I found that scene really it was really interesting where it was placed and looking back at it contextually with what we know now. So I loved it. I love this episode. I love learning more about Zanka, and I really, really hope he doesn't get just killed by the trash beast in the next episode.
Just yeeted to the trash beast.
Well, that's it, y'all. Episode 17 of Gachiakuta. And with that, episode 17 of the Gachiakuta After Show. Lee, are you ready to take us out like the trash?
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Gachiakuta After Show, brought to you by Crunchyroll and the folks over at Sony Music Entertainment. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
The Gachiakuta After Show is hosted by me, Nick Friedman, LeAlec Murray, and Leah President, who's not here right now.
On a side.
We are executive produced by Jonathan Hirsch, Joanna Clay, and me. Thank you to our lead producer, Kyla Carnero, our producer, Carlos Solorzano, and our associate producer, Zoe Culkin. Open-Ended Films edited and mixed this episode's audio. Our head of production is Sammy Allison. Special thanks to Tamika Balance-Kalasny, and, of course, the creators of Gachiakuta themselves, Kei Urana and Hideyoshi Andou.
And we will be back next week with more Gachiakuta, more Anime Effect, and more stuff on Fridays. So please stay tuned.
There's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing you can do about it. Later days, y'all.
Bye.